attic smelled of dust and forgotten things, a scent thick and cloying, like old velvet. I hated going up there, but the insistent scratching, a rhythmic, unsettling sound, had finally worn down my resolve. The old house groaned around me, a symphony of settling wood and whispering drafts, as I climbed the narrow, creaking stairs. The single bare bulb hanging from the rafters cast long, distorted shadows, turning the piles of discarded furniture and dusty boxes into grotesque shapes. I held my breath, the air thick with the weight of years, and listened. The scratching had stopped, but the silence was worse, a heavy, expectant quiet that pressed against my eardrums. Hello. I whisperet, my voice ad ypsilon rasp in the stillness. No answer. Just the rustling of unseen things in the shadows. The faint, almost imperceptible drip, drip, drip of the meeting wet. I moved deeper into the attic, my footsteps muffled by the thick layer of dust. The scratching started again, closer this time, a frantic, desperate sound that seemed to emanate from the far corner of the room. I followed the sound, my heart pounding against my ribs, until I reached a large wooden trunk, its lid slightly ajar. The scratching was coming from inside. I hesitated, my hand trembling as I reached for the lid. A cold dread washed over me, a feeling that I was about to uncover something I wasn't meant to see. I lifted the lid, slowly, carefully, and peered inside. The trunk was filled with old dolls, their porcelain faces cracked and chipped, their eyes staring blankly into the darkness. They were tangled together, their limbs intertwined, like a macabre tableau. And then I saw it. A small white hand, its fingers curled around the neck of a ragged doll, its nails long and sharp. The hand was moving, scratching at the inside of the trunk. I gasped, my breath catching in my throat. The hand was cold, clammy, and unnaturally pale. It didn't belong to any of the dolls. It belonged to something else. The scratching stopped, and the hand went still. I held my breath, my eyes fixed on the hand, waiting for it to move again. Ten, a voice, a sin, ridi whisper, echoed from the trunk. Plevisu es. I recoiled, my body trembling. The doll's eyes seemed to follow me, their blank stares filled with a chilling intensity. Vos tere? I stammeret, my voice barely a whisper. The voice came again, closer this time, and clearer. Plevisu es, child, vire lonely. The dolls began to move, their porcelain faces turning towards me, their limbs twitching and jerking. They were climbing out of the trunk, their movements slow and deliberate, like puppets controlled by unseen strings. I stumbled back, my foot catching on Alu's floorboard. I fell, landing hard on the dusty floor. The dolls were closing in, their eyes fixed on me, their whispers growing louder, more insistent. Plevisu es, plevisu es, plevisu es. I scrambled to my feet, my heart pounding in my chest. I looked around for a weapon, anything to defend myself. My eyes landed on a small wooden rocking horse, its paint chipped and faded. I grabbed it, my hands trembling, and held it out in front of me, like a shield. The dolls stopped, their eyes fixed on the rocking horse. Their whispers turned into a chorus of hisses, a sound like air escaping from a punctured tire. Give it to us. They hissed, their voices a single, unified sound. It belongs to us. I shook my head, my grip tightening on the rocking horse. No, I whispered, my voice trembling. Li me alone. The dolls surged forward, their porcelain limbs reaching for me. I swung the rocking horse, knocking them back. They fell to the floor, their porcelain bodies shattering into pieces. But the pieces moved, crawling across the floor, their broken limbs reaching for me. The whispers grey louder, more frantic. You can't stop us. They hissed. We'll always be here. I turned and ran, my footsteps echoing through the attic. I reached the stairs, my legs trembling, and descended as fast as I could. I didn't stop running until I reached the living room, the warm glow of the fireplace a welcome sight. I slammed the attic door shut and leaned against it, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The scratching started again, muffled now, but still audible. It was coming from the other side of the door. Plevisu es. They whispered, their voices seeping through the cracks in the door. We'll wait. I didn't sleep that night. I sat by the fire, my eyes fixed on the attic door, listening to the scratching, the whispers, the faint, almost imperceptible drip, drip, drip of the mating wet. The next morning, I went back up to the attic. The dolls were gone, their shattered pieces swept away. The trunk was empty, its lid closed. I searched the attic, but I found nothing. No dolls, no hunt, no sign of anything out of the ordinary. I told myself it was just a dream, a figment of my imagination. But the scratching continued, faint and distant, but always there, a constant reminder of what I had seen. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The scratching never stopped. The whispers never ceased. And then, one night, I heard a new sound. A soft, rhythmic rocking, like the sound of a rocking horse. It was coming from the attic. I went upstairs, my heart pounding in my chest. The attic door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open and stepped inside. The rocking horse was moving, its paint chipped and faded, its eyes staring blankly into the darkness. It rocked back and forth, its rhythm slow and deliberate. And then I saw it. A small white hand, its fingers curled around the rocking horse's mane, its nails long and sharp. The hand was moving, stroking the rocking horse's mane, its touch gentle and caressing. The dolls were back, their broken pieces reassembled, their porcelain faces whole again. They were sitting on the floor, their eyes fixed on the rocking horse, their whispers soft and soothing. Plevisu es. They whispered, their voices a gentle lullaby. We'll always be here. I turned to run, but the door was gone, replaced by a wall of blank, unblinking stares. The dolls were closing in, their porcelain limbs reaching for me. And then I felt it. A cold, clammy hand on my shoulder, its fingers digging into my skin. Plevisu es. The voice whispered in my ear, its breath cold and clammy. You're one of us now. The rocking horse continued to rock, its rhythm slow and deliberate. The dolls continued to whisper, their voices a gentle lullaby. And I joined them. I sat down on the floor, my eyes fixed on the rocking horse, my mind blank and empty. I was one of them now. And the rocking horse rocked on. And the whispers continued. And the attic waited for you, and for Altose who has the scratching, and the whispers, and the soft rhythmic sound of the rocking horse. They are waiting, and they will always be waiting.